Hello and welcome to round 3 of the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. We're here in the Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia for round number 3 after visiting Qatar and Thailand, now to Malaysia, keeping in spirit of the Asia Talent Cup. My name is Jack Appleyard with you for the first race of 2 this weekend, and alongside me is Fran Wild. Good afternoon, Fran, how are you?
Good afternoon, I'm wonderful, thank you. How about your good self?
I'm very well, thank you. Very much looking forward to this, because after the first 2 rounds of the season, although we kind of have a bit of a runaway championship leader, that doesn't mean that we've had a lack of entertainment.
Absolutely, it does not. The races so far have been great in classic Asia Talent Cup style, close as you like. But yeah, we have had one man so far rising to the top of the standings. But, you know, it's been a while since then. We've got quite a few rookies in the field this year, so you never know, everything can change. And this, of course, is the venue where they were pre-season testing, so there's a bit more experience for quite a few on the grid.
It's an important track as well, because they come here on 2 occasions. Obviously, this round, number 3, and then for the final one of the season, number 6, alongside the MotoGP Championship. Another of the circuits that they visit twice is the Chang International Circuit in Buriram. They've been there for when the World Superbikes were there, and they'll also be back for when MotoGP gets there as well. So the results this weekend are fairly important, because we can almost use it as a form guide for when we come here later in the year for the last round of the season, when hopefully, not wishing any ill effect on Sho Nishimura who leads the championship, we have got something to talk about at the final round.
Yeah, obviously with 2 races a weekend, barring any real dramas, there's 50 points on the table every ATC event, so it can change fairly quickly in terms of time. But also, yeah, Sho Nishimura so far has definitely been the man to beat, and as you can see, it starts on pole today. But usually, Sepang does host the season finale, which is also the championship decider.
As you rightly say, Fran, that is the championship leader, 33 points clear at the moment, and was rather impressive in qualifying, over 0.4 of a second clear of this man, Afridza Munanda. It's the first front row this season for the Indonesian rider, who's not gone so bad this season so far. Inside the top 5, but he'll be hoping to push further up the leaderboard with a good result here this afternoon.
Yeah, and a race winner in Thailand as well. But yeah, it's been a bit of up and down really for a lot of the riders on the grid, barring Sho Nishimura, obviously leading that championship for a good reason, and then compatriot Takuma Matsuyama, who's actually on the second row here today. But here's another Japanese rider, Shoki Igarashi. Impressive qualifying from him to get on the front row. And yeah, should be interesting to see what happens, like we said, with those 2 key championship protagonists so far, not really alongside each other on the grid as we've come to expect.
Yeah, it's a great performance from Shoki Igarashi. He's a rookie in the series, and in the opening 2 qualifying of the year, he was back on row number 4 of the grid, so to suddenly elevate himself up onto the front row is great work. It's a bit of Japanese domination in qualifying, because fronting row number 2 is that man Takuma Matsuyama we're talking about a minute ago. He lines up alongside this man, the number 16, Adanantra Putra.
Yes, he does indeed. So, yeah, like you say, we've got a few Japanese riders up at the sharp end at the moment today. And also Indonesians, a big Indonesian presence in the Cup this season, which is always great to see. Obviously, a country that absolutely loves bikes and bike racing. And speaking of extremely impressive qualifyings, Harrison Voigt, really, really good showing from him. And yeah, to be on the second row of the grid is a super, super performance.
Yeah, great work from the Australian, 11th in the championship at the moment, having picked up only 15 points. He's how can we describe him? Diminutive, short of stature, although I can't really be one to speak.
Yeah, not so much. But it was pretty close between those two to lock out the second row. And there is some really tight gaps on the timesheets. It was just that Nishimura really was the class of the field for that pole. So Warrick Thongnopakun, another impressive rider so far this season, the Thai rider. And yeah, should be one to watch in the races. Will probably be a little bit disappointed with the row 3, I imagine, given that he's been gathering some momentum. And yeah, got compatriot Piawat Patumios, the easiest name to say for English native speakers, of course, alongside him on the third row.
It's an all-Thai lockout on row number 3, because joining Thongnopakun and Patumios is Buasri as well. Third in the championship at the moment. He's 43 points adrift of our championship leader Nishimura on pole position. He's not had a bad start to the season, helped by a win last time out in the final race of the weekend at the Chang International Circuit. So, having picked up the win there, you would hope he's going to come into this one brimming with confidence and challenging at the front, but not exactly how he would have hoped qualifying went.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely be one to watch. One of the veterans who's probably a little bit out of position, really, given his performances so far this season. So, yeah, definitely one to watch, I think. And, yeah, Hildhan Kusuma, right behind him on row 4.
And the first of the Malaysian riders, we're here in Sepang, of course, so a hometown hero in Safairuddin Azman, 13th in the championship at the moment, just at 13 points, but Sepang, of course, will be a circuit he knows fairly well, as his mechanic just gets a flick of the ear from one of the practical jokers further down the grid.
Always good for those home nerves, bit of banter on the grid.
Here's the next man along, another Indonesian rider in the form of Firdaus. Again, 7th in the championship. He's really been challenging as a number 10 so far this season. I think he'll be hoping for slightly better than what he's managed in qualifying. He's one of the few men that we can possibly pinpoint to start challenging and making the way through the lower echelons of the grid.
Yeah, most definitely. I think he's another you definitely consider out of position down there. So it'd be interesting to see what he can do, and obviously if he can gain any sort of ground off the start as well. And then we have Idel bin Mahadi, the second home hero Malaysian on the grid, who I'm sure you can see the difference in stature across the age range of the ATC between the likes of Harrison Voigt and bin Mahadi. So yeah, he'll obviously be hoping for a lot on home turf as well. Looks like we're getting ready to go soon, frantically closing the brollies.
Certainly our 3-minute board has gone up into the air, which means that the brollies are down. There's going to be the last handshakes, the last sort of prayers going in each rider's direction as they wish them good luck and on the way. Rounding out row number 5 of this man, Ryosuke Bando, 15th in the championship at the moment. Will be certainly hoping to challenge some of his Japanese compatriots who have locked out the front couple of rows of the grid. Another Aussie in Jacob Rulston, who's just come into the championship this year as the young Aussie.
Quite a smooth little nod to camera there, enjoyed that. And he's got, compatriot Luke Power alongside him. Great name.
Yeah, I was just going to say, best name on the grid by a million miles. Luke Power. Of course, that was Max Power of Simpsons fame, wasn't it?
And then, of course, Will Power as well. You have the IndyCar driver.
You do? Oh, there's so many powers.
But yeah, and Rei Wakamatsu down there.
The
just,
tiniest of riders.
Yes, almost onto the back grid now. So you have Turkish rider Kadir Erbey. And then finally, we have a wild card as well this weekend.
We do, of course.
So plenty to play for when you're trying to make that impression on your first appearance. So it's the number 22 of Shinji Ogo, which is also a fantastic name.
It certainly is. Yeah, in terms of Kadir Erbey, obviously Turkish riders have got quite the history in the Asia Talent Cup in the form of the Ernchus, who have dominated for, well, possibly not last year, but the year before that and the year before that as well, in the form of Chan and Dennis, with a pair of them now challenging in the Junior World Championship and the fully fledged World Championship as well.
Yep, and Sepang was a real Chan on-chew track as well. He was absolute class of the field when they used to race here, so no pressure for Erbey down there on his first appearance. But yeah, obviously it is the first time they've raced around here for the rookies, but they do have that testing experience, so hopefully could help to keep the field a little bit closer.
And that is the route, of course, that every single one of these young men on the grid are hoping to take. The Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup has allowed young riders to progress through to the Junior World Championship and the World Championship, and those that are challenging at the front will be hoping to wrap up the championship in 2019 and in 2020 make their way across to Europe and start fighting the world's elite in the Junior World Championship. But there's a long way to go in this one. First, Sho Nishimura may well be dominating the championship after the opening 2 rounds, but with another 8 races to go in the series. I was going to try do the maths, but I can't work it out at the top of my head. 200 points, there we go.
8 times
25, we got there. How I did it was, I did 25 times 2, and then I thought 50 times by 4 would be slightly easier, so we got there in the end. 200 points available.
There you go. There you go. So maths, not your specialist subject, evidently. But yeah, there's still more than enough points for someone to make a late charge at this cup. And more than enough points as well for Nishimura to really extend that gap if the Japanese rider continues both his run of form and luck. Obviously, you do need a bit of a combo of both in racing. And so far, yeah, it's all gone his way. So 23 points, that's almost an entire race win now that he's got advantage over Matsuyama. And I'm sure today will be one of those occasions he'll be looking to really capitalise with his key rival heading up row 2.
Thank you to our directors for putting up that championship picture as well, because understandably you may not trust my maths after that poor showing. So at least you can can see for yourself that we are right at the moment. 33 points. Sho Nishimura leads over Takuma Matsuyama. In fact, is it 33? No, it's 23. So I've even managed to get that
It
wrong.
is 23.
My notes are absolutely useless. There we go, 23 points. So it is less than a race win, the difference between the man first on the grid and fourth on the grid, Nishimura and Matsuyama. That's the man you need to keep in your eye on. The number 3, the championship leader, starts from pole position, 0.4 of a second clearer than anyone else. If we're to go off that as a form guide for this one, he would be the out-and-out favourite. But as we've seen in the Asia Talent Cup races, you can throw that out of the window because it will be a group fight right to the bitter end. Keep your eye on the lights, waiting for it to go. Nishimura from pole position. Can he get the jump that he's after? Oh, it's a good start from the number 3, as it is for the man next to him in Munandar. Both of them have got away well. It's such a long run down to the first corner, though. It doesn't matter how good the start is, because everyone will slip in behind them. Who on earth is that coming through from the second row of the grid? It's Matsuyama, the man second in the championship. What a great start from him, and it's a big lunge up the inside coming from Tachikon Boasri. Oh, the Thai rider's so lucky to stay on it, but he's completely out of contention now as a result of that one.
Yeah, there's some big shuffles going there into turn 1, obviously for the lead, and then also around turn 2. But we got the majority of the field making it through fairly cleanly, and at least everyone is still on their bikes and rejoined. Although, yeah, we did lose someone right at the back. Was it Bawazri? Yeah, it was. Just a little bit too ambitious there, but it's still pretty tight at the front here with these guys. Can anyone stop Sho then? There's a few ahead of him. Let's see if they can keep that up.
It's Igarashi that leads, surely for the first time in the Asia Talent Cup. He's a rookie into the series. He hadn't managed to qualify outside of the fourth row of the grid in the opening 2 rounds of the season, and suddenly he's at the front of the race, and it's Japanese domination because Matsuyama's tucked in behind him, and Nishimura's looking pretty good there as well. But keep your eye on the number 5 of Tachikon Boasri. He's just slipped his way through to second place.
Was that the number 5? It might be the number 6, I think. It's really hard to tell with the heat haze. Yeah, it's the 6, I think, of Warit Thongnopakun. Some drama down in pit lane do we have? No, just a pit board. Yeah, Warit Thongnopakun, the Thai rookie, impressive in these early stages to move up a little bit from his starting position, and looks like he's in this to win it, most definitely in the early stages.
Yeah, he's looking to break clear as well. It's unlike an Asia Talent Cup race for someone to hit the front so early and pull as much of a gap as he has done there. It's good work from Matsuyama at the moment. He needs to win this one if he's going to try and pull some points back on Nishimura at the front of the championship, and he looks like he means business.
Yeah, most definitely. You can see there's already a fair gap there, but I think it'll be interesting to see what happens at the end of, well, certainly this straight, but also the main straight and out the final corner. So much time can be gained and lost there, and Matsuyama obviously out there ahead on his own, no slipstream for him.
Yeah, that's going to be such a challenge for him. Even if he pulls a massive gap out, the fact that we've got the back straight and then the start-finish straight, it'll allow these guys behind him just to draft him back in. That's a good move coming from the championship leader, Nishimura. You can tell that he means business this afternoon as well. His compatriots out front starting to break clear, and he's not liking the looks of that, so he's squeezed his way through to second place, and he's going to try and reel him in as much as he possibly can now. 12 laps to go, so there's plenty of time for him to do it.
There is definitely plenty of time, and this lap at Sepang is pretty long. Got a bit of everything. Obviously the conditions are fairly challenging as well. The likes of the home heroes on the grid probably a little bit more used to the weather, but a few of the riders probably finding it a little bit of a tougher predicament out there with so much humidity and it'd be such hot temperatures. But Matsuyama at the moment nice and cool in the lead, but he did manage to retain that fairly well down into turn 1, and pretty impressive stuff from him. But it looks like Sho Nishimura now just a little bit closer and reeling him back into the group.
He's yet to win a race this season, does Matsuyama, but you wouldn't be able to tell that. There's no real nerves there out front. He's more than happy to hit the front and try and pull a gap on everybody else, although the advantage was far greater than that last time around. Nishimura is doing a great job in pulling him back in, and he's able to drag a Fritz Munandar with him as well. Those two behind in second and third slowly but surely reeling in the leader.
Yeah, they are, and that's all you've got to do as well. You just got to chip away at it and try and just bring that rider back to you. And especially, like we said, if he's not able to break that slipstream, which he definitely hasn't now, you can see he's right back into the clutches of Nishimura now. It's almost impossible at Sepang unless you've got a real serious gap to manage to maintain that over the back straight, and then the final corner as well. There's so many different lines to attack it. That's why it's been cambered the way it is, to give you plenty of options going around there. And and then that long main straight, it's a lot lot to ask, and it's too much to ask of Matsuyama. Looks like Nishimura already starting to look a bit feisty behind his compatriot.
I'm not getting ahead of myself. Oh, that is a big moment
wide
for Matsuyama. A proper car park route. Normally we say he's on the grass, but he quite literally is on the grass there on his exit. And as a result, not only has he lost first place, but he's lost all of his drive down this mammoth back straight. So Nishimura and the man in second place, Munandar, have been able to squeeze past him. He's quite fortunate to hang on, though. I'm surprised that Igarashi wasn't able to draft past him there, because he'd have to have rolled off on the grass, and I thought he would have dropped like a stone. But fair play to the Japanese rider. He's able to hang in there and hold on to third place.
Yeah, pretty good work there to not lose out too much and to keep it fairly safe and calm on the rejoin as well. But yeah, like you said, it didn't even lose out that much from it, which when you have such big groups fighting so close together like you so often do in the ATC, it's such a bit of a heartbreaker. If you can make one error, you can have 7-8 guys blasting past you within a heartbeat. So I think we probably, the race start we're going to get a replay of.
You can see a great start from pole position from Nishimura, but just keep your eye on Matsuyama from the front of the second row of the grid, who's just able to drag in Nishimura so well and dive through from the second row of the grid. A big gap left there, because unfortunately it was Munandar who was in the middle of the front row. Didn't get the best of jumps. You can see the number 4 there just getting edged out, and then that's the moment with Bouasri. So lucky to stay on it is Tachikon Bouasri. Picked up a second place here at the last round of 2018, his best ever result, but he's got a mammoth task if he wants to try and match that.
He does indeed, and bit of a tough start to it. And I think as well, obviously the Asia Talent Cup, it's about winning, racing, getting on the podium. It's also about learning. So it's a good sign for him that at least, although that happened so early in the race, bit of a heartbreaker, he's managed to keep his head and just set about trying to chop back through the field and get some good points on the board.
He's already up to 13th with Bouasri, but just from looking out of our commentary window, there is a big leading group of 12 riders. Sorry, try to put my teeth in, and you can see just in the back of the picture, Bouasri is the number 5 there, who unfortunately for him, there's quite the gap for him to overcome if he wants to be able to tag on to these leaders. I mean, with 11 laps to go, it is a possibility, but it's going to be an almighty task for him. I can't see him being able to do it.
Yeah, it's always a bit of a challenge, isn't it? Obviously, you can make up a lot of positions through those groups, but when there is this split between this front freight train and then those guys behind, they don't have that slipstream to try and help them catch up either. You kind of find that you're like, okay, well, I've got to 13th and maybe that's as far as I'm going to go because the next man ahead of me is however many seconds clear. But we'll have to see. Obviously, in the ATC as well, things can change very, very quickly. And if these guys are all going to fight each other, which looks like they definitely are very close down there, then you never know what can happen. But Bouasri, good work so far.
Yeah, talking of it changing quickly, we've had a change of the lead. Munandar dived under the inside into the final corner, but a good run out of that last corner from both Nishimura and Matsuyama. I've seen them draft back past the Indonesian rider. I was going to say, I don't think it's the last time we're going to see a move into that final corner. With 10 laps to go, I'd be surprised if we don't see one another 10 times.
Yeah, definitely. It's an absolute classic final corner, that is Sepang, and it can cause some chaos, some heartbreak, but also some incredible manoeuvres as well. It's where the 2017 Cup was pretty much decided as well, so much drama can happen there. But it looks like these 4 at the moment are just able to make that gap and seem pretty comfortable as well, ahead of Thong Nopakun on the chase in a bit of clear air himself. So it's going to be interesting to see if they don't fight each other too much, if they can just eke that out lap by lap and make it a fight between the 4 or 5 of them rather than trying to take on another 12, 13 guys in a huge group at the front. But so far, they're definitely a class off the field and able to just pull away.
Yeah, possibly these leading 2 are just edging clear now as well. These are the men first and second in the championship. In fact, the championship picture is exactly as you see it out on track. Nishimura leading, Matsuyama there in 3rd place, and Munandar was the man just making the move on possibly a surprise package in this one so far in Shoki Igarashi, the rookie to the championship. Hasn't really had the best of starts to the season, but we'll let him off given the fact that it's his first time in the Asia Talent Cup. But he's
so generous of you.
Oh no, thank you. I'll give him a pat on the back next time I see him, because this is by far and away the best performance of the year we've seen from him so far. To be up there battling with both Nishimura and Matsuyama. As you mentioned, Thong Nopakun's there in 5th in quite a lonely race at the moment. He's going to have to get his head down to try tag on to the back of the leading group. But once he can just get into the slipstream and tag onto the back, then he can have a bit of a breather then and reset himself and try and put some tactics together. But at the moment, he's only got one job on his mind, and that is getting onto the rear wheel of the number 14 of Igarashi.
Yeah, most definitely. It seems to change pretty dramatically between these front four, depending where they are on the track. The gap just concertinas a lot more. You can see the second group were a lot closer together then, but it seems everyone's got their strong points and weaker points here, and I wouldn't be surprised if again we're going to see another move into turn one, another change of lead, so they'll have to be careful, because that more than anything will definitely help Thong Nopakun make down that gap. Make up that gap.
Make up, yeah. Matsuyama was the one making the look up the inside. We'll just have to see whether he managed to make it stick or not. He was probably odds-on favourite. He got his front wheel in front of Nishimura. We're still waiting to see if he's managed to do it. That's the man we're looking for his progress of Bawasri after a disastrous turn one. Although he had a superb start, he just clipped the back wheel of Nishimura as they flicked right into the first corner. Now we have confirmation that the number 11 of Matsuyama is the new leader out on track, with Munandar tucked in third place and Igarashi there in fourth, whereas Thong Nopakun, although he looks to be trying, he's not really managed to pull in anything on the rear wheel of Igarashi just yet. So at the moment, this battle for third place is a four-rider gaggle.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see, though, it looks like that gap from Thong Nopakun back to that second group has definitely extended. Or second group, maybe more next rider in the field. So, yeah, he's now in a pretty safe top five, which you would have said was pretty impressive. Except that he's just so close to those guys. I'm sure he'll be able to smell the podium from where he is and just be really pushing to try and get on terms with them.
He'll be desperately pushing because he's had a podium success at the first round of the year in Qatar. After then, he's had 2 6th places and an 8th place. He's been in and around the leading group, but not really managed to get involved in the fight for the podium places once we've got down to the latter stages. So if he can get himself into a strong position as we edge towards the closing laps, then you might just fancy him to make a couple of big lunges as he tries to find another bit of podium success. Meanwhile, at the front, it's still Matsuyama that leads the way, the yellow-helmeted Japanese rider, followed by the green helmet, which is quite handy for us commentators, because if they all wore the same helmets, we'd have absolutely no chance of saying
For once in a talent cup, they actually have different helmets, and the riders at the front all with a different coloured helmet, so that does make life a lot easier. But yeah, as you can see already into that final corner, the leads change, and I expect it's going to change again in a second into turn one.
Munandar's the man that's made the move this time around as they hold the pit boards out, which I'm sure will be half a lap too late. Munandar will have had P3 as he came across the line, but of course he is P1, but now they can change it back to P3 again because both Matsuyama and Nishimura have drafted the way back past, and as a result of those three battling at the front, the man we've been talking about of Thong Nopakun is now right in the frame for the fight at the front. So number 6 is onto the rear wheel, and now we've got ourselves a 10-wheeler.
Yep, we most definitely do. He has arrived on the scene. It'll be interesting to see now whether he does just sit there and content to sort of try and keep up with their pace, or whether he's going to start making some move pretty sharpish. But these guys still locked in their little battle as well for 6th place and pretty much to complete the top 10 as well. So a lot at stake for everyone in that second group as well. It's not all about the podium. There's a few guys here fighting for their best result.
Saifuddin Azman is one of them, the Malaysian rider, currently having his best performance of the year on home soil, which I'm sure will please the home fans in attendance here in Sepang. Meanwhile, there's another change for the lead as Matsuyama squeezes back onto the inside of Nishimura. One man that we haven't really mentioned is Igarashi. He's been there since the start of the race in 4th, but I don't think he's actually moved up into 3rd place or anywhere higher than that. He seems quite settled at the moment in 4th, just happy at reading his pit board. I'm sure he'll be well aware of the fact now that he's got Thong Nopakun for company, but it looks like he's just waiting to pick up the scraps.
Yeah, Igarashi does look pretty comfortable there in 4th and doesn't look like he's in a hurry to really attack anyone at all, does he? So maybe got a few aces up his sleeve, and of course he's going to prove me immediately wrong.
Right on cue, as if he's got an earpiece in. He then decides to have a big look up the inside, but he does stay in 4th place. He has a big look over his shoulder, and as we said moments ago, I'm sure he will be aware thanks to his pit board that he's got Thong Nopakun for company. But as he turned around and he saw a big fat number 6 in his face, he definitely does know that he's got Thong Nopakun for company now.
Yes, most definitely is aware of that. You can see, bit of a shuffle down into the final corner. This group fighting for 6th. But Igarashi then obviously decided then was the time. But unfortunately, didn't quite pull that one off and slotted back into 4th. So he should be an interesting one, I think. Obviously, with him not having had the likes of Nishimura and Matsuyama's results so far, bit of an unknown quantity in terms of the end of the race battle and his tactics. So could be a good one.
This is the fight for 6th place, and it's quite an intense one at the moment
Feisty
as well. Yes, certainly is feisty. I'm just trying to count just how many it is. We've got 4, 5, 8 riders all battling for 6th place at the moment. So this goes all the way down to 14. So pretty much these are scrapping it out for the final points. And at the moment it's still been led by the Malaysian rider on home soil, Saifuddin Azman, but he's been put under quite a bit of pressure from Adinanto Putra, and we'd have probably expected Putra to be in a little bit higher up, 4th in the championship at the moment. He's had a strong start to the season. In fact, he's never been outside of the top 6, a 4th place, a 3rd place, a 5th place and a 4th place. He's been all over it since the start of the season, but he's struggling at the moment down in 7th.
Yeah, it seems a bit of a tougher weekend for him so far, but like you say, it's more by virtue of his incredible consistency so far over the first 4 races. So he will be one of those guys for whom it's really, really important where he does finish in that group. Maximum points necessary to try and keep him in that fight. Obviously, that's part of it as well. It's not just about big out the seat moment there.
Matsuyama was the one so lucky to hold on to both bike and position as well, although he's lost it now to Igarashi, who's finally made a move up into 3rd place, but that has just given a bit of an advantage, a bit of a comfort buffer to both Munandar and Nishimura in 1st and 2nd. Igarashi can see that, and he's quickly at the chase to try and reel them back in to make sure it remains as a leading group of 5, but that is just a warning for Matsuyama of just how quickly things can change.
Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, speaking of consistency, before we were so rudely interrupted by the on-track drama, Matsuyama is one of those guys who knows that consistency is very important. He has been that so far this season, but he's also someone who does need to now push and be a little bit more aggressive and start finishing ahead of Nishimura. Otherwise, consistency isn't much use if that gap keeps growing, because you know Nishimura's had that in his arsenal as well. And you can see Matsuyama now recovered from that bit of a scare, and looks like he's going to attack again into turn 1.
So it's a Fritz Munandar that leads, one of only 4 race winners that we've had so far. Sorry, 3 race winners we've had so far, because obviously it was Nishimura that did the double first time out. Munandar won the first of the races in Buriram, whilst the second one went the way of Tachikon Bawasri on home soil. Bawasri's not going to make it back-to-back wins after a nightmare opening corner. Saw him shuffled right out of the way. He clipped the front wheel, or the back wheel should I say, of Nishimura, and that sent him to the back of the pack. But we could well see a second win of the season for Munandar, or a third win of the season for Nishimura, but there's 3 other guys in there hoping to claim their first win of the Asia Talent Cup in 2019.
They are indeed, and yeah, Bawasri looks to actually have a chance at some really, really solid points now. He's well in that fight for 6th, and seems to have made some good progress. Like you say, already a race winner, so you would expect more from him. So a really good recovery ride would be, you know, the first guy over the line after this quintet fighting for the win. Obviously just lost touch with them with that early mistake or issue. So yeah, good work from him, and there's still a few riders to pick off ahead of him now. He's really in that fight.
Yeah, 6 laps remaining. We're over half race distance now in this one, and if things stay as they are, it's definitely going to be one man from this leading 5 to pick up the victory here, although the pace behind from 6 downwards is pretty quick. I don't think they've got enough in reserve to be able to reel them in. It's quite the advantage that the leading 5 have got, with currently Nishimura leading the way, and not for the first time this afternoon, he's just stretching the elastic at the front. That is as big a gap as we've seen for quite some time over second place. Nishimura possibly in a bit of a hurry here to try and get away.
Yeah, he seems to have pulled the pin a little bit, but now he's going to run into that classic slipstream problem now. No matter how hard you push around the rest of the lap, you have to have a real serious gap to make it worthwhile by the time you get here. Obviously, as well, anytime you have made up gives you that little bit of extra anyway, but must be a bit of a heartbreaker when you've pushed so hard to make such an advantage and then it all goes away. And then they'll also, these guys getting a bit feisty in this 5 for 6th as well.
Yeah, the big groan from me coming courtesy of Tachikon Bouasri.
Yeah.
We said to mention him, we said he's going to be the man on the move. That was a big look up the inside. He only picked up one place, but he's desperate to try and salvage some points in this one, is Bouasri.
Yeah, and I said that he'd managed to stay calm after
he's
that
just
early issue.
Push him wide there.
He's
on the rumble strip and down they go. That's 4 of them gone down. It's all Bouasri's fault. We said he was going to be the man on the move. He got on the rumble strip on the inside. It completely and utterly put the bike out of shape. The front folded, and then with 2 men outside of them, the domino effect took place, and 4 riders have gone down in that battle for 6th place. Meanwhile, the leading 5 have escaped, and that charge still goes on. But just look at Bouasri on the inside. We've seen the likes of Stoner be able to take so much curb, but not that much.
That's
the front
a lot
folded.
to ask, yeah. So unfortunate, obviously, as well, when you're racing so close together. It's not just your own crash, and unfortunately a few other riders caught up in that, so that's a bit of a heartbreaker for Bouasri and those around them. Looked like everyone was up after that crash, but bit of a mess down there at turn 2. Not what you want on red flag, so I guess there's a lot of debris down on the track after that.
Fingers crossed it is for debris and not for any of the injured riders. As you rightly said, Fran, it's one of the slowest corners on the track is turn number 1, and a couple of riders did get clipped, but at slow pace, and they looked as if they were getting back up onto their feet. So fingers crossed it is just for debris. So with 9 laps of 13 completed, the big question now is whether that is 2/3 race distance complete, and I would guess that is 2/3 race distance complete. So the last time that they came around will be the confirmed result. And
I think, it will be whoever crossed that line first, which obviously we know who was in that battle.
We certainly do.
But I can't remember from memory now, after all that drama out the first corner.
Well, in the leading group,
it was
Nishimura was probably out front, and then I can't remember from there who else was in there, but there was Munandar, Matsuyama, Igarashi, of course, and Thong Nopakan, the Thai rider.
Yeah, we've got 5 riders then up for hoping they were in the right place on that slipstreaming on the line last time around to hopefully end up on this podium if we do get the result called as a full race result, which I think we should with that amount of laps.
So we're just waiting from race direction for official confirmation of that, and of course the fact that we get the all clear from the young men that went down at turn number 1, and I'm sure Tachikon Bouasri may well get a bit of a talking to after that one as well. Having done all the hard work, he was dead last. Having made that mistake at turn number 1, he battled his way through into the lead for 6th place, and he possibly just got a little bit too eager. Could we say youthful exuberance?
A little bit, almost, It's nearly the same place as the initial mistake as well. Obviously, very different situation when everyone's trying to shuffle around there for the first time after the start. But a bit of a heartbreaker after, like you said, we've been really singing his praises a bit of how he managed to stay calm and chip away at that and move back through, and then just that heartbreak. So I'm sure he'll be eager to not repeat that again in the future after having done all that hard work. Such a shame to see him go down.
Well, the bikes are going back into the garages. You can see Sho Nishimura there just sort of wanging that one finger. Is wanging, is that a word? I'm going to go with it anyway. Waving that one finger. There we go. As if to say, are we going again? Asking his mechanic, is that it? Are we done? Have we won the race? Are we going again? But they've parked it up in the garage. Gloves are off. Helmets are off. We've not gone into Parc Fermé, so I would imagine we may well go again, but until we get official confirmation, we don't know. Oh no, there's the handshake.
There we go.
Confirmation, just as we were waiting for it. So for the 3rd time this season, it's Sho Nishimura that wins the race. Does a superb job to be able to get it job done.
Yeah, great performance from him. Obviously, not the kind of race where sometimes if you think there might be a red flag because of the weather or something like that, where it's the name of the game to cross that line first, but he was in that position when it counted, and extends his lead and another win in the bag.
Yeah, of course. That's the most important thing. Not only is it a third win of the season, but he extends his championship lead further as well. Good ride from the man in second place. If we're going down the running order, the fact that Sho Nishimura has won the race, that means second across the line was Afridza Munandar. So it's a great performance from him to have second place, a third podium of the year, a third podium on the bounce as well. So the Indonesian really starting to find some form.
Yeah, definitely gaining some momentum is Munandar at the moment. So impressive stuff from him that you can see confirmation on your screens. P2 puts that P/2 up. So yeah, really good performance from him. And one of the key improvers so far. Obviously, the likes of Matsuyama and Nishimura have been at the front since the word go and in testing, but Munandar really impressive. And it's Matsuyama then who will complete the podium, so losing a bit of ground again to Nishimura in the standings. But still, podiums make championships in the end quite often. So
I tell you what, Matsuyama doesn't look best pleased with
he
that
doesn't
podium,
look
does
as chipper as I'm trying to make the situation
He's
feel.
not at all.
So it must be, obviously, it's a very different thing when you've had that kind of red flag interruption. It's just a bit of a damp squib. So sadly for him, didn't get the chance to fight it out at the end. But here we go then. This is the final results of the race after that red flag.
We certainly are, and it's Sho Nishimura that wins it from Afridza Munandar, and then Takuma Matsuyama rounding out the podium. Fourth place went the way of Warwick Thongnopakun, with fifth in the end, the best ride of the year for Shoki Igarashi. Further down the field, Harrison Voigt, you could see there, just flashed up. Another point-scoring finish for him, and then the wild card at the back, Shinji Ojo. A lot of experience gains, though, and short for the wild card. That is what he was looking for this weekend.
Yeah, most definitely. I could see the perpetrator maybe a little strong, the unfortunate agent of that chaos there down at turn 1, Bouazri. He is classified in 11th. Obviously it was over the line, so it did gain some good points after that initial early mistake in the race that had seen him drop back so far. And all riders seemed up after that crash, which is obviously the main thing.
Yeah, went to the medical centre, so we've been told, but everybody seems okay. We're getting the all clear that despite the quick trip, everybody seems to be fine, so I think just precautionary measure more than anything else. But here's your podium for the fifth race of the season. Third going the way of Takuma Matsuyama, second place to Afridza Munandar, and for the third time this season, Sho Nishimura wins the Asia Talent Cup.
Yeah, really impressive ride from him once again. Like we said, not quite getting the chance to see it all go down to the wire and see maybe some possible tactics play out, but these three guys are definitely deserving guys to be on the podium. And we can see everyone now getting their trophies. Nishimura there, the race winner, looks a little bit happier than compatriot Matsuyama in third.
Still haven't had a smile from Matsuyama.
We haven't.
Maybe he'll sleep on it and be better pleased in the morning that he's just picked up a fourth podium of the year. But of course, Japanese the winner, and let's hear the Japanese national anthem. The Japanese national anthem ringing around the Sepang International Circuit after Sho Nishimura has picked up his third Asia Talent Cup win of the season and takes an even stronger hold of that championship before we head on to race 2 later on this weekend. He'll start that one from pole position once more, and the big question will be who can stop him now. 32 points clear of his compatriot Takuma Matsuyama. A good ride from Afridza Munandar to jump back onto the podium means he's ever so slightly dragging himself into contention, but it's starting to look like it may well be Nishimura's to lose even at this early stage.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens definitely in race 2 at Sepang, and then of course for the rest of the season when we have quite a gap until we begin racing again alongside MotoGP at the end of the year. But there you can see in the standings, 32 points now is Nishimura's advantage, and it's Matsuyama still in second after that podium, but like you said, Mononda moving up there into contention now.
It is over a race win is Nishimura's lead, but all it takes is one disaster in race 2 tomorrow and it can be cut down as quick as that to just 7 points. So make sure you join us tomorrow afternoon for the second of this weekend's Asia Talent Cup races, live from the Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia. Round 3 of the season means race number 6 is coming your way in just a few hours' time.